Okay, so let's go ahead and start looking at writing and solving two-step inequalities from word problems. It's going to be the exact same thing as equations, except we have to have an inequality in that sign, okay? So, a rental company charges $15 plus $4 per hour to rent a bicycle. If Margie does not want to spend more than $27 for her rental, write and solve an inequality to find how many hours she can rent the bicycle and not spend more than $27. So when I define my variable, I can see that my unknown is my how many hours. So X is your number of hours. So to write my inequality, like I said, it's the exact same thing as writing an equation, except you're going to have an inequality sign. So I'm going to take my $4 per hour, so it's going to be 4x, plus she also has to pay the $15. And I know that she does not want to spend more than $27, so that means it's got to be less than or equal to 27. Because I don't want this amount to be more than 27. It's got to be less than or equal to the 27. So now we can go ahead and solve our inequality. So we subtract our 15. So 4x is less than or equal to 12. I'm going to divide by 4. So x is going to be less than or equal to 3 hours. And then I'm going to go ahead and it says graph your solution and interpret the solution. So we'll start with graphing it. So we have our 3, 2, got to have 3 numbers on our number line. It could be equal to 3 hours or less. So I'm going to shade below. Now, when it says interpret the solution, you want to tell me what does this answer mean in terms of the word problem. So you need to give it in a sentence form. So when I interpret, if x is less than 3 hours, that means that she can rent the bike for no more than 3 hours. There's lots of different ways to say it. I could have said she can rent the bike for 3 hours or less. She can rent the bike for a maximum of 3 hours. Any of those would work. Okay? Okay, so let's move on to number 2 then. Ruben is mowing grass to save money for vacation. He charges $12 per lawn. He already has $40. He wants to have at least $148 to take with him, so that's the minimum he wants. So we know our x is going to be our number of lawns. I know that because in the question it says, how many lawns does he need to mow? The inequality, so my number of lawns, my x, I'm going to multiply by 12 because it's $12 per lawn, so 12x, plus how much he already has, which is 40. He wants to have at least $148, so 148 would be the minimum. So this is going to be an example of a greater than or equal to 148. 148 is the minimum he wants to have. So be greater than or equal to. So I'm going to subtract 40 from both sides. I get 12x is greater than or equal to 108. I'm going to divide by 12. So then we get x is greater than or equal to 9 lawns. So when I graph that, 8, 9, 10, close dot on my 9. And then my interpreting would be he needs to mow at least 9 lawns. I could say he needs to mow a minimum of 9 lawns. He needs to mow 9 or more lawns. Anything like that. Okay? The next thing that you're going to do, you're going to go to the back side. you've got 3 questions here. On number 5, I want to give you a hint. Number 5 says, my 9 friends and I go out to dinner. We want to spend no more than $25. If we split the bill evenly, what is the total amount we collectively can spend? My hint to you is going to be this. It is a one-step equation that may or may not include division. Hint, hint. Okay, it's a little bit harder one. So I want you to do 3, 4, and 5. And then while you're doing that, pause the video, do 3, 4, and 5, and then when you're done, come back and check it. Okay. Okay, so taking a look at number 3, if she needs at least $310, she saved $120, and she's making $10 an hour. My number of hours is going to be my x, so I'm going to take 10x plus 120. That has to be greater than or equal to 310. When I go through and solve that, I get x is greater than or equal to 19 hours. So she needs to work at least 19 hours in order to have a minimum of $310. Because if she doesn't have at least 310, she can't buy that audio system. Number 4, fitness club's having a special offer. My x is going to be my number of months, and I'm going to take the $30 plus 15x, because x is my number of months and 15 is my monthly fee, is less than or equal to 300. I'm going to solve it. I get x is less than or equal to 18. So that means he can sign up for a maximum of 18 months. That's the most he can sign up for. He doesn't have to, but that's the most. Okay, moving down to number 5. Number 5 is a tricky one, and I will tell you this, there's not one like this on your quiz, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. It might show up on your unit test, but we'll talk about it more when we get to that. So my friends and I go out to dinner, so that's going to be a total of 10 people. That's 10 people, because it's my friends and I go out to dinner, so that's 10 people. We want to each spend no more than $25. So if we split the total bill, so my total cost is x. So I'm going to take x divided by 10, and that has to be less than or equal to 25. So we can spend no more than $250. If you missed this one, I wouldn't worry about that so much for your quiz tomorrow. Okay. So go ahead and put that off to the side, and now we're going to take a look at your quiz review. On the quiz review, and you guys don't have it yet. You guys watching the video, you should have yours in front of you. So on the quiz review, the first page I want to go over, because this is using substitution of the given value to determine if it's true or false. So this is not going to be solving. This is using substitution to determine if that solution works or not. So if I have k equals 7, I take that 7 and I'm going to plug it in for my k. So I have 6 times 7. Is that greater than or equal to 42? Well, I know 6 times 7 is 42. So this is going to be a true statement. I expect to see all of that work there. Number 2, if n is 22, I'm going to plug that in for n. So I get 11 plus 22. Is that less than 32? So what's 11 plus 22? Well, it would be 33. So is 33 less than 32? No. So that's false. Okay. So for your quiz review, you're going to go through and finish this. The second page is two-step inequalities. Solve them, graph them. The next page is your practice. It's just like what we did for the word problems in those notes. This is due tomorrow. It also needs to be graded. So you need to go into Schoology and find that key and grade that before your quiz tomorrow, because your quiz is tomorrow. Okay. All right, so you're going to finish that up for practice. You need to grade it for practice tonight, and then you need to be ready for your quiz tomorrow.